Hey everybody, it's Dale Jr. and we got a big, fully packed show for you today on the Dale Jr. Download. I want to thank Xfinity for bringing all of this to us today. We got Bubba Wallace coming on the show to talk about flipping race cars and all kinds of other things going on in the sport. He's going to be a dad soon. Harrison Burton, this week's winner, comes on, and his dad as well, Jeff Burton. We get to hear from both of the Burtons on today's show. Can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's get started. The following is a production of Dirty Mo Media. Hey everybody, it's Dale Jr. back again for another episode of the Dale Jr. Download here in the Dirty Mo Media studio, and this is brought to you by Xfinity. I want to make sure that you stay connected with Xfinity Mobile. They're a proud partner of NASCAR, proud premier partner of NASCAR, and do a lot of great things in the sport. So thank you, Xfinity, for everything you do. Got a great show for you today. We are coming off of a incredible race at Daytona, and Andrew's here. How's it going, Andrew?
It's going good.
And
how are you doing?
I'm all right, man. Dalton is here. How's it going?
It's going good, man.
Yep. Tim's back there in the booth. Are you? Good. Yeah. So let's just jump right into it, man. Dirty Air. Presented to you by Tire Pros. Great people at Tire Pros. Stores all across the country owned by people in your community and supported by all those stores. They do everything, not just tires. So we're thankful for them supporting us today. One of the things that I wanted to say about Daytona is, isn't it hard to remember that it's not the cutoff race or the last race of the
difficult
regular season? Damn you, NASCAR. I mean, I'm just giving them a hard time. They didn't want to move, the schedule kind of got jumbled up and they didn't want to move the Darlington date off of Labor Day, right?
Right.
Kind of disappointing. Like, I was looking forward to the excitement of Daytona being the cutoff.
It's still kind of
like Darlington's good.
Yeah.
It'll be good, but Daytona's better.
It still was. It still did have the same potential to be a spoiler race, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that did it change at all moving it away 1 week? Not so much, because we still got the Underdog winner that they're trying to, give that race that chance to be that, right? And it was that. So, yeah, I don't know if it needs to absolutely live right on that last race of the season. And
I don't know. I have no idea how Darlington would go, but you would think that Chastain and Bubba would be closer in the points, and you would probably get not a super surprise winner. So it's like you go to Daytona and one of them crashes. You're like, oh, that's it. Playoffs are in shot. The moment. Like, it's the moment.
That's the thing.
That's what I liked about it.
You're right. That's the thing that it was missing. The thing that it was missing was that if a guy did crash, you were like, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Now they still have Darlington. Well, Darlington is the Everest of NASCAR, right? So, like, going to Darlington for a must-win is like impossible, whereas at Daytona you're like, well, I got a shot, you know, who doesn't have a shot?
It's not an easy follow-up for sure.
No, not at all. And so yeah, that's anybody anybody that has to go to Darlington in a must-win situation certainly wishes that Daytona was the cutoff race. It's funny, all the drivers when they moved Daytona to the I call it the cutoff race, but the last race of the regular season, oh my goodness. What a terrible idea having that race there. Just, oh man! And now, boy, they wish they were going back to Daytona. A lot of them, right?
Yeah.
Because they damn sure ain't got a shot at Darlington. You don't got a shot, damn it.
Even like Kyle Busch after the race, they're like, "How do you feel about Darlington?" He's like, "Yeah, we were pretty bad there last time." He's like, "We really got it." Like, that's not his exact words, but they struggled last time. Yeah. So it's like, darn, it's Kyle Busch's best chance. It's like it's already kind of maybe behind him.
Maybe.
Richard Childress found some speed. Austin Dillon came out of Richmond and was flying, and he did well last. I mean, I know Daytona's completely different.
And Darlington was a good race.
The eternal optimist.
I try to be,
Good for you, Dalton.
Got to keep your head up.
Yep.
Someone has to for Kyle Busch.
So Harrison Burton comes away from Daytona with the win. I thought it was a great deal for Wood Brothers. Mm-hmm. The Wood Brothers, it's not like David Pearson, winning the race in the 70s or that it's not that Wood Brothers. There's this really great, cool alliance with Penske. I think we should all be glad that Penske supports that alliance and has for so many years, because I don't know where the Wood Brothers would be without it, right? The Wood Brothers have an amazing relationship that they've nurtured and continued with Ford. They have a really good relationship and a lot of support from Ford. I don't think that Ford would allow them to fail, but I believe that their relationship with Ford won't allow them to fail, but their relationship with Penske is what allows them to have performance and be competitive in these moments. So we got to be giving a shout out to Roger for being such a badass, but also to the Wood Brothers themselves. Leonard and I have a really good friendship. Leonard builds all kinds of things, but one of the neat things that he builds is RC cars, and very, very competitive RC cars. Like he's raced in competition. His car, he'll build the cars, and he has other people drive them and race them. Gas powered, 10th scale.
He won't race them himself.
Well,
he's just the car
80
builder.
Years old,
yeah,
or whatever. He may be older than that, but he builds them and has built them for a long time. Back when me and Tony Jr. and Tony Sr. were racing together in the Bud days, he was building RC cars for us, and he built me 2 cars, probably about 8 to 10 years ago, and I put them away. Never touched them. Never ran them. They're immaculate. And the quality and detail in his work, it's a really interesting piece. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm thinking when he handed them to me, I asked for them. I wanted them, and he made them, and I got them. And I was like, Leonard Wood built these. This is what I think of the Wood Brothers, right? I'm putting these in the shelf.
Yeah,
keeping them forever. And so, anyhow, getting off the path a little bit, but I was happy for the Wood Brothers. Number one, I think Richard, those names, Richard Petty, the Wood Brothers, the Earnhardts to an extent, all of having those names continue to be successful in some form in our sport is helpful. Mm-hmm. It connects us to the past. When the Wood Brothers win, the past wins. The history of our sport succeeds and remains relevant. And so I think that was a cool thing. So then if we can, we'll move to Harris.
No, yeah, but to your point, I was in Victory Lane, and the win was way bigger than just like the immediate 21 team. Like Blaney was there, all the NBC guys were there. Obviously Jeff Burton was there, but like it was like this is way more than just one car winning a race. It felt bigger,
yeah,
and I think that's because of the history that they've built.
You had competitors of Harrison who were basically knocked out of the playoffs, quote unquote, at this point, going up and congratulating him and celebrating with him.
Yeah.
And like that speaks volumes for what the Wood Brothers means to NASCAR for sure.
Harrison, I think a lot of that says a lot about Harrison too, because I've met Harrison, and he's a good dude.
Mm-hmm. He is.
Really, really just a good, nice, kind.
Good head on his shoulders.
Good, approachable, really, really solid. I hate to call him a kid, but his dad, Jeff, did a really, really good job, Kim as well, raising this man, right? And so I think that when people were coming into Victory Lane to congratulate him after the race, it's because of their respect and appreciation for his character. His character is solid. He's a good little race car driver as well. And I don't know that we all in this world, right, in this room and outside this room, can handicap him. I don't know that we know exactly how good he is. And we've seen him in the Gibbs stuff, and he's ran well in it in the Xfinity Series. There's been a lot of volatile results in the Gibbs equipment over the years from different drivers, even this year, right? I think they've got a couple of good drivers in their cars, and they don't dominate, right? Only a couple people will get in the Gibbs car and dominate, Kyle Busch and Ty Gibbs for the most part, right? Denny Hamlin somewhat. But Harrison outruns or runs with anyone else really that's gotten that equipment. And I think I watched that 21 car closer than I think a lot of people might because of the connection with Jeff Burton and the friendship that we have. And it's been a tough year. They were 36th in points, 34th, but they were 36th. Mm-hmm. They were the last full-time competitor in the points.
He's actually still is the last full-time driver in the point standings. Yep, he's still 34th.
I was happy for Harrison. I was happy for Jeff. But and I didn't even think about it. None of that happening. It never crossed my mind that there was a problem with it. Are people having an issue?
You mean him winning?
Yeah, with him going from 34th to the playoffs.
That's where I kind of struggle. Like, listen, Harrison played his cards exactly right. Yeah. All credit to them. But just all of a sudden now we're calling a 34th points car one of our best 16 of the year. You know, I had the same frustration when Austin Dillon won. Like, he was in the 30s in points. I'm like, this is our representation of the playoffs. Like, and I get it. It's exciting. It's winning, you're in. But there's just part of me that just struggles with that part of it, the integrity part of it. It is no doubt exciting. It's a storybook, moment, but that's where I can't fully wrap my head around that.
Do you guys, having followed the conversation around, the sport since the race, has that been a common theme? Because when I look back at all the playoff fields over the last over the last decade, if you go back to the original Chase
just
field,
the OG,
those
10 or 12,
10,
right?
Those 10, I think I might have been in there. They were the 10, right. There was no, there's no kind of wild card that's not, kind of snuck in.
It was the best representation of the season so far.
When it got opened up to 16, and in the last several years, I think in the last probably 10 years, it's had one or two of those drivers. It's had one or two of those guys that you look at and you go, he's not a championship contender. He's not going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But he's in the playoffs.
But how often was like the 10th place in points in the Winston Cup, like when that's saying, how often were they considered a championship contender?
They weren't.
Right. So like
it kind of
makes me think like
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I agree that it's kind of a staunch or stark like launch from 34th into the playoff.
Right.
I get that. I understand people going, wow, of anybody that this is pretty extreme, but it doesn't bother me because every year we've had one or two of those drivers that find their way into the playoffs that we know, and no one's going to say it out loud, but us podcasters and people in the media, they're not going to go battle for the championship. They're not.
Could you argue like a Chastain or a Busher or someone could make a late run, or Bubba could make a later run? Like, I could see someone like Ross Chastain, who right now is out of the cut line. He could race his way. He could turn it on in the playoffs, make it to the round of 8. But it's like a Harrison.
But if he's not,
I don't know if I see that 21 car doing the same thing.
But no, and I don't think anybody expects him to, and I think that's totally fine. He if this was the first time that this had happened, I could understand this being worth a conversation. And if this was the first time, right? But this is every year we've had somebody, and maybe pick a playoff grid, any grid, and I'll tell you one or two drivers that are like, they're not contenders, they don't belong in there, and it's more than one, and that's okay, and it's it is what it is. We know that I want Harrison's going to go, man. We're going to do the best we can. I'm not trying to talk badly about their team, but the performance across the board is what it is. And hey, it's a great opportunity. You know what matters in this isn't well, they don't belong in there because they're not a contender. That's not really what matters. Them going from 34th to the playoffs is millions of dollars in revenue for this team.
I think I saw somewhere it's $2 to $3 million to go from like 30th to 16th.
They did a lot of boxes, major boxes that might not have never gotten checked for that team got checked, and they're they're going to benefit from that financial success, and so pretty good deal. I like that part, right? I like that this team won the lottery.
Yeah.
I like the idea that, Rick Ware or the some of those teams that are back there, they're putting up a fight, man. There ain't no teams starting parking. Everybody's coming to race.
Yeah.
I like that.
Right? They're all working their guts out, and they're working their guts out to run 25th and 30th every week. That's harder than trying to run in the top 10. That's harder emotionally, mentally, to stay, the morale, the grind, the going over and over week after week. And they just landed the lottery, bud. And so I like that idea for our series of having a team. Hey, man, here it is. We're going to lay this out in front of you. You might win this race and win the lottery. You might not. You might stay 34th in points and just have a year. But if you win this race, hey, here you go. Here's your basket of good and millions of dollars and all kinds of cool. I like our sport having that potential, and it's more rare than I think we give it credit for. Mm-hmm. Like, run that race 10 times. How many times does Harris win it? I think once, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I've never thought of it that way, of almost like this is a good thing for the sport, because if it means better parity for the next 2-3 years, that's a significant thing, because this not only impacts them this year, but I think Bob Pockers or someone tweeted that like it impacts the next 2 to 3 years, because they take your average finish per season, and that goes into revenue.
Go back to Spire winning that rain.
The Justin Haley.
Where is Spire today if that win doesn't even happen?
Who knows?
Oh man, that's a good question. Yeah.
Who even knows?
Right?
It's a good point.
So that win for Spire, they're standing on the shoulders of that today, and I believe, with that win, they would have maybe gotten to where they are today at some point, but I'm sure it accelerated it, right? And so what can the Wood brothers do with this? Not only the financial gain, but the momentum and being relative, and all the media and exposure that it's going to bring to them. They'll go into the playoffs. Their driver in the playoffs. All these opportunities to be able to get themselves a bunch of notoriety, and so that's good. Xfinity Mobile customers get exclusive access to the most powerful Wi-Fi network on the go, with speeds up to 1 gig. For NASCAR fans, that means faster downloads for turn-by-turn action, smooth live streaming with fewer pit stops, and a strong connection from the parking lot to the grandstands. So for more laps and less lag, stay connected with Xfinity Mobile. Hey everybody, I want to talk to you a little bit about safety culture. You may know Safety Culture's logo from Shane Van Gisbergen's car, but Safety Culture is more than just a sponsor. It's also the workplace operations tool for the Trackhouse Racing team. And what does that actually mean? Well, the team uses Safety Culture's app to manage everything from pre-race inspections on the car to assembly checks, and they even do some of their training on the app. Every race team has an incredible amount of individuals that maybe don't even travel to the racetrack, work back at the shop, that are a big part of the success of that race team, preparing cars, getting them ready to go to the racetrack and run these races and try to win checkered flags and ultimately championships. No matter what you're trying to achieve, no one has time to waste. From construction sites to factory floors, Safety Culture is designed to drive improvements not just in safety, but broadly across quality and efficiency too. Are you ready to put your workplace in the pole position? Well, head to safetyculture.com/SVG.
To go off your point, Dale, of like you like that a car can just win and get in. It's like winning the lottery. Like this is something unique to our sport. This isn't like anything else in any other sport. I think the closest thing we've come up with in the office is, a team winning their conference championship in college and then making a bid for the bracket, the NCAA bracket. And I don't think that's such a bad thing. I've seen a lot of complaining online about, well, this isn't deserved and it's not this and it's not that. This is the game. This is the game that we get to play. And unfortunately, if you don't like it, like I have bad news for you. It's going to keep happening. So I think it's cool that NASCAR is unique, and we have something that sets us apart from other sports.
Yeah. So, all right. Also, another thing, if you can't have a problem with this win, and be okay with Ricky Stenhouse winning the Daytona 500.
Great point.
I had a funny feeling about that one too. I would say.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, like it was same type of deal. Like, is that going to be a playoff car?
It's the first race of the year. You don't really you don't know.
I don't know. I kind of have a feeling. You could give me a list. I mean, we did it at the beginning of this year. This is our 16. Like, was Ricky Stenhouse on that list for you?
Okay.
McDowell won an Indy road course.
LaJoy was.
There's another one.
Yeah.
He won the Indy road course.
McDowell, yeah. So, I mean, I don't know that there's an uproar of, debate when Ricky Stenhouse Jr. wins the Daytona 500 or when McDowell wins at Indy. There's awesome. Great for them.
It's in the back of my mind.
What a Cinderella story. Everybody's just very happy. And now all of a sudden we have, there's a group of people going, yeah, I don't like this. This ain't fair. I think it's not a big deal. One of the things that was interesting about how Harrison won the race. So there was this moment, right, when I saw social media like blow up. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. He crossed the finish line under review.
Yeah.
All of the social media, all of the media in NASCAR, Gluck and everybody else,
double yellow line
under review. It's official. I mean, it was like 2 seconds under review. It's official. All of them were like doing this.
I mean,
all of the media from the media center were like typing this, texting this, tweeting this as fast as they could.
I mean, you look at a double yellow line, the amount of time, like it cannot be guaranteed. I feel like.
Well, there was so many people so badly wanting Kyle Busch to win that race.
Right. And it's like, maybe there's hope.
Yeah, and they were like, "Hey, he went below the line. Throw him out." And so, but he went below the line because of the contact, right? Everybody understands that, right?
Right.
Like if
and he didn't gain position either.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that I know what you're saying.
I think that was part of the ruling.
It is. I agree, but he could still be deemed as trying to block, right? And force. You cannot just, even if you're the leader, you can't go below the yellow line.
Right.
You can't. That's illegal, right? Even if you're not advancing your position, but if you go below the yellow line. In some circumstances, I could see NASCAR having a very big problem with that, especially if you're in a blocking maneuver or blocking motion. If NASCAR is like, so if you're coming down a straightaway and there's a lane open on the inside, which you were pretty stupid to leave that lane open anyways, and the guy in second goes to maneuver there and you blocked him so aggressively that you went below the line, I could see NASCAR maybe not on the last lap, but on the 50th lap or the 100th lap going,
doing something about
white flag, below the line, you blocked, you forced your way down there, forced the driver. They don't want that, and that is, I think, I might be wrong, but I think in my mind, that would get a black flag. I would black flag him in the booth. But if he's coming down to block and he's trying to stay on the racing surface, but there's contact that kind of steers him down there, I'm going to let that go, and I think that's what NASCAR decided.
Props to Kyle Busch for not wrecking him, and he even said in post-race, like, besides flat-out wrecking him, I just, like, there was nothing else I could do. I got beat. It was, even though Kyle Busch lost, and I want to see Kyle Busch in the playoffs, I want to see him do well, I respect him for the way he handled that last lap.
Did Kyle Busch do anything to not wreck him?
I mean, he didn't right hook him.
Was he in the position to right hook him?
Coming off of 4 potentially, like when they're.
I don't think so, but he could have.
They were clear.
Yeah, I don't think from 4 on to the finish line, I don't think he could have hooked him. But before that, there were probably a couple chances where he could have sent him, pushed him up the
Laps
track.
before?
Like within the overtime restart. And
Yeah.
he raced him clean the entire time,
Yeah.
like not just coming to the line.
Yeah.
So
He handled that post-race, and I'm sure he was probably more upset than he was giving on, but he handled post-race better than I was expecting. Lee Diffie's call was fantastic.
it was awesome.
That last lap. It was so and we were talking about this yesterday. The last lap was a kind of normal Daytona last lap. It's not like there was a photo finish. There was a pass for the lead, but it wasn't extremely exciting. But
dynamite.
Lee Diffie made that just so memorable. Plus, with the Jeff Burton being in the booth, that was fun to watch.
So I agree with you 100%. I think Lee Diffie, I'm not surprised at all that Lee had a great call. Lee's energy is infectious, and he loves to make those calls. He loves what his job is, and he also loves racing. He loves to be there. He's happy to be there. He's excited. I've worked with him before. His attitude and personality about that, none of that surprises me, how he performed. What I would say is the last lap, if you turned the sound off, the last lap is exciting.
Yeah.
It is thrilling. I think us that watch races have to be reminded that this pass for the lead on lap 50 of the race is a big deal.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do, and it's exciting, and the drivers are on the edge. And if we watch that pass for the lead on lap 50 and go, oh, there's a pass for the lead, then, that's not very exciting. And you don't think it was a big deal because it doesn't sound like a big deal. It sounds just mundane and normal. Mm-hmm. But it isn't. And it should be. Every battle on the track is that. It's a battle. And it's a driver trying his hardest to improve his position by one spot. And you badly, as a driver, want to pass the field one at a time, right? And you work your ass off to get one position. And it's a game between those two drivers in that moment, whether they're passing each other for the lead or if it's happening for 15th. And I think that it's lost on us how much is happening out there and how much is happening emotionally and physically within the driver as he's trying to do those things. I think we've lost the understanding and appreciation for how much of that is happening in every single race. And that last lap, everybody in the field, their heart rate was at its peak. Internally, physically, they are doing everything they can. They're terrified. They're excited. They're hoping they get back in one piece. They're hoping that they cross the finish lines going with all 4 tires and going straight, but they don't know. And they're coming around that corner, and calamity could happen at any moment, right? And so it deserves to be it deserves to be acknowledged, and the energy and all of those things that Lee brought do a really good job at helping you understand as you're watching the race how really, really crazy this is and really wild it is. And so I think that that's such an important part of the broadcast, and I feel like that just over the last 20 years, it's that aspect of broadcasting the race and letting the viewer know how really crazy this moment is and how important it is and wild it is and special it is eroded away. And it's not been an intentional thing. It's just sort of been this natural sort of evolution of just calling a race a little more straightforward and a little calmer and a little less up on the chip. And I always say this, and I know there's a lot of people that do this. Listen to an MRN broadcast. Mm-hmm. And the energy that they give you and how they every lap is high
like
energy.
The last.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way it should always be.
I agree.
Right? And some of that's the way the TV broadcast should also be, right? And I think since we as TV broadcasters have a visual, we dial it back unintentionally and take a little bit of our energy out of it because we think
there's less work almost.
Yeah, there is. It's there in front of you. You see it. I don't have to tell you it's exciting, but you do. You do have to tell us it's exciting. Yeah. We need to be told that this is insane. And so, I think Diffie is going to do great, and I can't. I think fans are going to. I think there was a lot of fans that loved the call. I think as he does week after week, more and more fans are going to get on that wagon. Mm-hmm. And by the end of the season, shoot, man, he'll be one of the guys.
Him calling the champion of the checkered flag is going to be a crazy moment. I actually ran into Lee boarding my flight home from Daytona.
Yeah.
And first of all, he says hello, by the way.
Nice.
But he said he's most looking forward to, like, he's done IndyCar, track and field, sports car racing. He is most looking forward to really being able to focus on these last 11 races and to just fully give it his all. I'm excited to see what that looks like.
Yeah. We are very lucky to have the Lee Diffies, the Bagleys of the sport.
Yeah.
And if you listen to a Cars Tour broadcast with Eric and Blake, that to me is
thrilling.
That's the level of energy that's acceptable. That's not the top. That's not, that's where that's like the standard, the norm. Mm-hmm. Those guys do a really good job. There was one more thing. Parker Retzlaff.
Oh, people giving him
what the hell?
I don't understand why.
All right, so Parker is driving a car for Beard Motorsports.
I guess it's RCR affiliated, right? Or
they
build
they have
the
chassis,
engines.
engines. They spend money, and it's a teammate car. Yes. I absolutely feel like that Kyle Busch and RCR would look at that car and go, "Yeah, we can count on him. He's with us." Mm-hmm. Right? But nobody told Parker how important that was.
Well, didn't they say over the radio?
They told
apparently
him.
There was some conversation.
Right?
They said, don't push that Ford in front of you to a win.
And he
kind of did.
Not kind of. I mean, he did.
He definitely did. Yes,
he definitely did.
Do you think you can get him on the Thursday show?
Oh, good call. Yeah.
We need to ask him. Give him a couple days. Get his talking points. And then we're going to hammer him with the hard questions.
Yes, and I was with him on pit road after the race. He was doing media availability, and he said, definitely not what I wanted to do, but also I wanted to give myself a shot, and I can't blame him for that.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, dude, he in his mind, he ain't pushing that 21 to the win. He's trying to get himself in position to be pushed to the win.
That's where I'm at. Yeah. Manufacturers, teammates be damned on the last lap.
Damned. I kind of agree with. I agree with you there, and I've said it, so I'm not backing down from my feelings. We would get in these meetings. I mean, back in the DEI days, even in the HMS days, and there were long conversations about. All right. Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, everybody in the room, everybody talk about what their expectations of others are. Don't tell, we're going to tell each other what like we want to do. Like, hey, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to say, all right, y'all, this is how I like to run. I'll help you when I can do it. I'll help you when I can. I'll do this and I'll do that, and I'm willing to do this. I'm not willing to do this. I'm not willing to do that. And then, in the end, I'm going to do these things. Mm-hmm. So we would do those. We would talk about that, but then we would, maybe say, all right, I expect this from my teammate. And so, because that was the tricky part. We all could tell each other, I could talk to y'all and say, we could all share with each other, here's how I'm going to race. But what really needed to be said is, this is what I expect from you. Now, if I'm hanging out here and you're over here, I would expect you to do this for me, right? And so that helps you when you get in the race and you're in the moments and you're like, all right, this guy, my teammate,
We talked about this.
my teammate and I talked about this, and he probably needs my help right here. That gets a better result in that situation, right? And so I'm sure that he was probably in these conversations, and but dude, he doesn't have the experience to really truly know how much of that to trust. And to your point, a lot of people are going to go, man, he pushed the 21 to the win. Why did he help him? He wasn't trying to push the 21 to the win.
No.
He was trying to get himself in position for him to be pushed to the win.
Yeah.
He's thinking, I'm another row closer to the front here. If I get the right help off of 4, who knows? And who knows? He could be sitting in victory lane.
Right.
And so I don't blame him.
I mean, what else could he have really done?
I mean, lift.
I
and
know, but
cause,
then exactly
cause all kinds of freaking problems.
Exactly.
Not like totally lift, but like he could sit there and like moderate throttle and just totally not do anything that surges the 21. But he's going to get run over. They're all going to stack up behind him, and the pushes are going to get more crazier and crazy. You're damn right. Somebody's getting turned around coming off the floor because of any of that. There's no way they get through that without getting spun around. Somebody getting turned around.
Right.
If you look at how big of a run they had coming, I think it was coming off the back straightaway too. You could easily think, if you're Parker Retzlaff, I'm clearing the 8 on the inside. I'm going to make a move for the lead.
That's his. I'm sure he was thinking that, not like, oh, I'm helping Harrison and Harrison's got the win. Yes.
Yeah. People are saying that, oh, well, there goes your chance racing
People
for
will
RCR.
say, you know what people say is, I went to Martinsville and won the race, and I'm thinking, holy I got a clock. I am happy. I got, this is a box I wanted to check. I love saying that, checking boxes.
Hell yeah.
I do. I'm like, man, I really wanted a Martinsville win. I finally got one. And people are still today, every once in a while, come up to me and go, can't believe you didn't let Jeff win. And he could have went on in the playoffs. That would have helped him in the playoffs. I can't believe you didn't let him win that race. Like, I'm supposed to pull over. And
this is not Formula One.
well, I mean, yeah,
It's not.
well, I mean, people truly think that should have been my choice.
Man, that's crazy.
And in the same thing here. Like, people truly think that Parker should have just got out of the way, or just not helped and not done anything. I don't know. It's wild.
Like, when you're saying earlier, hey, let's talk about expectations. Should they have said instead over the radio, don't push that 21, instead, like, see if you can help the 8?
Yeah.
Is that maybe?
I
would
think
that
what
have
they might
been
have
different.
I don't know that he could have chosen to do things differently, because
Right,
he was
yeah, like,
he was
just-
where he was.
right.
He was behind the car. He was behind, and he's going to try to push that car best he can. But they were pretty clear. The orders were clear, and I don't think they could have said anything different that would have netted a different response from Parker.
Well, I was going to say, why isn't anybody giving Christopher Bell a hard time for pushing Kyle Busch? He's in a Toyota, and Kyle Busch is in a Chevy.
Yeah.
And he's trying to push him to the. I know it's a little bit different, but
Gibbs has
a lot
less
different.
playoff implications.
I get what you're saying, but like, if we're gonna get that granular about manufacturers,
I know.
why didn't
Well,
Gibbs
it's
get
not-
out of line
yeah.
and try and?
There's a lot of people that truly believe in the loyalty, and you do everything you can to make this
to get a Chevy in victory lane.
Ford.
Yeah,
The manipulation in manufacturing by teams and even manufacturer camps of the races at Daytona and Talladega have gotten way out of hand. They were even more.
Agree.
It was even more egregious a couple of years back. Remember when they were pitting together and practicing together, and everything was like so orchestrated, and it was nauseating. It ruined of the many things that can ruin plate racing. It ruined racing at Daytona and Talladega when the manufacturers were all trying to connive and work against each other, and so and it ruined, like, when Joe Gibbs Racing all started to work together and basically get at the front of the field and control the entire race. God, it sucked. It sucked as a driver. It sucked as a viewer, unless you were a Gibbs fan. But I love and listen. Don't hire me if you don't like this. right? Don't whoever you are out there, whoever you are out there.
PSA.
Are you looking for jobs?
No, I'm just saying. Well,
His options open.
maybe I should say my point
Producer
first,
Dale.
then that. So I always said I'm gonna help you as much as I can during the race, right? I want to be a good teammate, and I like you. I like my teammates.
That's nice.
Now maybe when I weren't teammates with them, I didn't think they were good, and I didn't like them. But when I become your teammate, I'm all in. I'm gonna be a good teammate. Now I'm not gonna do something to help you that's gonna screw me 10 spots. Sorry. You can just kind of hang where you are and just try to wait that out. But I'm not gonna do something that saves your ass and costs me 5 or 10 spots. Right? I'm not doing that. But I'll draft with you, push you, work together. We can stay at the front, whatever, however that works. At the end, when it comes down to like 20 to go, I'm very singular, very selfish. I'm trying to win the race. And if I'm trying to help you win the race, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. And so I like what Parker did. I think he was truly just trying to put himself in position to get a win. And so I don't have a real problem with it. And I know that, you can go home. You go home after the race. The 18, they're not going to be big Parker fans. They're going to, a little bit of grumbling in the shop, a little bit of grumbling in the office. Some of the management might be disappointed. But when we get on down the road, right, they're not going to look back on this and go, that Parker screwed us. That Parker ruined our season. That Parker, they're going to go, you know what? Parker did a pretty good job at that race. He's not going to get less opportunities if it's with RCR because of that. They're going to go, hey, all right, you made that choice. Didn't love it. This is what I would do. We'll sit down. We'll talk about it. I was expecting this. From you, Parker. But he's a good little racer. He didn't kill his career at Daytona. All right, so we got Bubba Wallace on the Dale Jr. download today, and Bubba coming out of Daytona, a lot going on. We was talking about the race a little bit. Happy for Harrison. I know you're probably happy for Harrison, like everybody else. I know you're not happy because you didn't win, but Harrison's a good guy.
You got to be happy in this sport for other people winning.
Yeah.
Nah. In the moment, hell no, I wasn't.
No, not happy.
I wasn't. It's so funny. Under the cool down lap, usually you go up and ride up next to him.
Yep.
I rode behind him, 5 car lengths.
Oh, man.
No. I went back to the bus, showered, changed, and then went back to victory lane.
Yeah.
And then we were texting yesterday. So, no, congrats to him. Super proud of him.
He's a good dude.
He is.
So let's talk about fatherhood. So you're you're going to be a dad soon.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You're getting tons of advice. I know people coming left and right telling you all the things. But what's the experience been like? I mean, sitting on the couch, watching the baby kick, feeling all that going on. You're like, wow, it's real.
Yep.
How's that? I know you're an emotional dude, so this is going to be a big ride for you.
Yeah. So honestly, I've been super calm, cool, and collected about it. Right. Amanda, she's been going through the ups and downs and just the excitement of motherhood for her, feeling the baby kick and all the things you said, and she loves it. She thinks it's the coolest thing ever. Starting to get, we're 5 weeks out Thursday, and it's crazy to think. And so she's starting to feel some pain and some pressure in certain areas, and now she's worried, like, oh my God, if I do one wrong move, is baby coming now, right? She's overthinking everything. And then for me, she asked me a couple weeks ago, she's like, are you excited? And I'm like, look, there's a lot going on right now, obviously. I will be excited when little man is here.
Yeah.
But imagining whatever, don't get me wrong, I'm excited to be a dad. Yeah. But it takes a lot for me to get excited. So we're both enjoying the process. She's growing. She's strictly belly. That's it. Hasn't put on any other weight anywhere else. It's crazy. Yeah. Which she says that might change in the last couple weeks. But it's been awesome to see her grow and enjoy the whole process. So every time I'm around her, though, she's getting kicked, getting her ass kicked.
That's awesome. I miss all that, man. That was so fun. And I won't give you any advice, but I will say my favorite thing when you go when it's time and you're in the delivery room and the baby comes, there's this really brief moment. So when the baby comes, you're happy, you're thrilled, baby goes to mama. If everything's, going the way it's supposed to go, there's this sort of, hallmark moment where y'all are together and baby's here, which is awesome.
Yep.
But there's this, they take the baby over to this little metal table to weigh it, and it's 10 feet away from the mom. It's not, you don't leave the room or anything, but you walk over there with it, and there's there's probably like 1 minute where it's just you and the baby. Well, there's a nurse there too.
Right.
But the baby's been here like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. It has no clue. It's like, what the hell? Right. But you're standing there with it, and it's like there's this. It's your moment. It's like a dad moment where it's like just you and the baby just for a brief second. And you're like, you finally get just like a second alone with the child, and you're like, wow, it's real. It's real. And then they take the baby after they do all the little basic vitals and stuff. They take it back to mom, but. Pretty cool, man. I can't wait for
excited.
you. You're going to love
all
of that. You knowing how you are, and you live with big emotion.
Yeah.
And you when things are good and you're happy, you're really happy.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of the same way. I think that whole thing is going to be a hell of a ride for you, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I'm excited as well. So thanks.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to all of it.
There's been a lot of debate on. There's been a lot of conversation, I guess, around cars flipping. So at Michigan, we had the Xfinity car flip, and then the Cup car flip, and I got on here and I said, "Hey, cars are going to flip. You go fast, cars will flip." Then Barry flips and hits the inside wall, and people were saying, "All right, it seems like there's an issue. I don't think cars just seems like there needs to be some addressing of some problems." What do you think about it? Are the drivers, speak for the drivers, are you as a driver more concerned than you were a month ago? Is there something that needs to happen?
I'm with you, right? Cars go fast, they're going to flip. Knock on wood, I've never flipped in my career. I've gotten close. But I don't know, man. I think it has been kind of crazy the last 2 weeks. We've seen, 4 flips now, 3 on the Cup side. But it's just being in the wrong spot at the wrong time, being in a bad spot. I thought LaJoie's was pretty wild, but, man, the wind was gusting so hard. We had a massive headwind at Michigan.
Yep.
That plays a factor. Barry's, I forgot how his line – did he get hit in the door?
Yeah, he did. Which commonly does get a car up in the air.
Right. So I think LaJoie's is the only one where it's like, what happened there? The other stuff is what we've seen years down the road, right? So it's simple enough. Don't crash. Don't flip.
Don't flip.
I don't have anything else to add to that.
So coming up at Martinsville, last year you had selfies of 65 fans on your car. At Martinsville, and this year you're going even bigger with 500 fans. Talk about how the idea came together for that paint scheme.
Yeah, Xfinity coming on board last year, they've done a lot, as you know, being an Xfinity team owner here. They do a lot for the sport in a short amount of time they've been in the sport, which is really cool. So they're invested. So they joined a part of our team last year in a capacity and wanted to do something for their rewards members and give back. And we know a lot of it doesn't matter what sport it is, being able to give back is pretty damn cool to be able to do and be a part of. So this year we're ramping it up from 65 reward members to 500 to give them a chance to ride on our car at Martinsville. Good thing they outlawed the Hail Melon, so I won't mess up any of their faces on the wall. But it's just Xfinity, just a way of doing bigger and better things, giving back to their customers and giving them a chance, a ride of a lifetime, I guess.
Yeah. So to be on the car, do you know what it involves? How do you get him?
Just being a rewards member.
Really?
And then you get an opportunity. So it's, like I said, up to 500, and you mentioned that as well. So first 500,
really cool.
They get in there.
So coming out of Daytona, I'm so it's hard for me, man. I'm so used to Daytona being the last
That's it.
race of the regular season, and this year it's not.
Yep.
And we're going to Darlington for the final race of the regular season. A lot of drivers saw Daytona as a real opportunity for them. How do you approach this unique situation where Darlington is the last race, the last opportunity? Put us in the mind of the driver that needs to go in there and have a great day.
Yeah, to your point, I think I looked at the schedule a week before the off weekends, and I was like, oh, it's Darlington this time. I thought it was Daytona the whole time. So there's two sides of it coming out of Daytona. You're bummed, you're pissed off. You're not really pissed off. I mean, you're frustrated that you're not in. You did what you're supposed to do. We out-raced the one car, and we have a 7-point cushion to him. But we had a new winner. So it's like the goalpost moved again. So it's like, okay. I had Sunday to, be down and figure out, is it going to work? Is it not going to work? I had Monday to, being at the shop kind of brought all the competitive juices again, but you weren't ready for it. So I just wasn't in the best mood yesterday. But I had MJ text me yesterday on the way to the shop, actually, and he says, things you want more cost more. And in the moment where you're pissed off and frustrated, you're trying to think of what that means. And I all day yesterday and all day in the middle of the night and even this morning, I'm telling myself, you just got to go out and have the best race you've ever had of your life. And it's not like saying it as that's impossible. It's just showing up and me doing all that I can. Take out the outside factors, pit stops, or we call a wrong race, right? You go out and drive your best race you've ever had, and knowing that you have the people, knowing that you have the equipment, then everything else will make its own way.
Yeah.
And so that's how I'm approaching it. I woke up in a much better mood this morning, and I think that helps. I think last year I went into Daytona really stressed out, right? And just wanted to race and super focused. And I think for Daytona you can get by with that, but I think if it was Darlington, I would have crashed lap 2. Just taking a deep breath and understanding where we're at. We're not out of it by any means. And it's as simple as it's a little bit more complicated, but if you outrun the guys you're racing, then you should beat them.
Yeah.
But we have to do a little bit extra work, and I'm excited to roll the sleeves up and do that. So that's how I'm approaching it.
What about competition meetings and all the, so if you're 21 points out, will you sit down and talk to the team about, all right, these are the things this is the strategy, this is how we will approach this first stage, the second stage, this is how we're going to try to have the best result, but also accumulate whatever we can accumulate, right, and try to put the pressure on that 17 car.
Yeah, that all starts tomorrow with our analytics meeting. We'll start to get into that, a little bit of the strategy, but kind of like Michigan, we talked on Wednesday leading into that, and it's like, okay, this is a big strategy race. You can go for points, you can go for the win, because the passing is at a low there, right? And I said, it's simple. If you give me the car that we had 2 years ago in Michigan, then we're going to go for the win. And if not, then we'll go get points. And we fire off, and we're going to the front. So we instantly knew within the first 15, 20 laps, we're going for a win. So, yes, we gave up points there in the first 2 stages, but at the end of the day, we got crashed out by someone else's mistake. So people had questions of why we were doing that. That's what you got to pick your poison. Either going for points or you're going for a win.
Yeah.
Some tracks you can go for both if your car is that good. Michigan's pretty damn tough. So Darlington is another place where strategy comes into play with the tire dag and all that stuff. 1 stop, 2 stop. So I think we just have to figure out when we unload Saturday, how our Saturday goes.
Yeah.
I think that'll dictate a lot. But at least getting the ball rolling, getting the juices flowing on Wednesday is so we're not, caught with our pants down, as they say, when that time comes around.
Booty is your crew chief.
Yep.
Great dude. I've been trying to get him to come on my show, and he keeps telling me that he is too busy and doesn't want to do it. And I want to hear his story. You know, he's got an amazing story, so maybe you can go home and put in a good word for us.
I'll try. Yeah, he's definitely reserved when it comes to the media side.
He don't want
nothing.
All right, man. I appreciate you coming on. Excited about you being a dad and hoping you have a great race. Want to thank Xfinity for being a great partner of yours and ours as well here, bringing you on and having this great conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Xfinity knows NASCAR is better in real time. That's why we deliver the fastest connection to every race. Streaming with more horsepower for ultra-low lag and wall-to-wall Wi-Fi coverage from green flag to the checkered flag. Get a better groove and less drag from the best seat in the house. Your very own pole position. Xfinity. Bring on the good stuff. All right, so great conversation with Bubba. And to his point, man, he's sitting there doing everything he can in that race and ends up 6 points above over Ross, but gets bumped down outside of the top 16 with the win of Harrison Burton. And now he's 21 points behind Chris Buescher at the cut line as they go into Darlington. And Buescher doesn't run bad at Darlington. I don't really know what his stats are, but they should be rather competitive there. So I think it'll be pretty a big challenge ahead for Bubba.
He was leading the race. Buescher was, and then Reddick and him got together, and
that's an interesting. Because, there was a 2311 car that ran good. You wonder how much that impacts the whole team and if Bubba can unload better. And, I mean, I don't know, 21 points for one final race is still a lot, it feels like, to overcome.
Yeah. So a big announcement today. Mexico City has been announced as a new addition to the schedule next year. They're going back to the same facility that the Xfinity Series raced at many years ago. I mean, 20 some years ago. I remember with Truex racing for Chance 2 and winning at Mexico. And so that's going to be kind of right in the middle of the season in the summer months, right during the Amazon Prime portion of the schedule, which I'll be broadcasting. So we'll jump on a plane and head on to Mexico and enjoy that. It's funny because I've been to Mexico. I will have been, by the end of this year, to Mexico 3 times this year.
Oh, just this year?
Just this year.
Wow.
Dang.
Yeah. So,
are you getting the scouting report for next year?
Marrying into a Texas family, Mexico is a very common, consistent vacation destination. Like it's just, hey, we got a long weekend. We're going to Mexico, and so that's what's taking me down there. I'll have been to Mexico by December for 2 birthdays, and I forget what the other reason was, but anywho, looking forward to that being part of the schedule. It was a toss up between Montreal and Mexico City. I'd never been to the race in Montreal for the Xfinity Series when we used to go up there for Junior Motorsports. Looks like a pretty cool deal, so I'm hopeful that might become part of the schedule at some point. But Mexico City, the racetrack, it's kind of unique. Don't remember too much about it. But I am looking forward to seeing what the support for Daniel Suarez would be like.
Oh, man.
So imagine NASCAR going and racing in front of, Pablo Montoya's,
like in Colombia.
Yeah. Fans there. It would have been just 95% Montoya fans. And crazy excited, right? And so imagine what this might be like for Daniel to go into that race where there will probably be like 95% Daniel Suarez fans. And there'll be pressure, I'm sure, for him.
That I feel like it's got to be like his Daytona 500 almost.
But Daniel seems like the kind of guy that, like, when you put in that situation, he'll perform. Like he'll rise to the occasion. So that could be pretty cool to see if he does go and actually runs well. What a what a cool visual that might be, or a moment that might be for the sport.
Do you think he'll take more time, run more laps on the sim? They're going to put extra
I'm sure
close
he will.
care into making sure that car is just right.
I know he'll be prepared.
Yeah,
but pretty different and unique addition to the schedule, and the schedule will change quite a bit next year. I don't think that's officially still out.
I think,
but
I've heard this week.
Yeah, it's got to be close.
Mm-hmm.
I think this was the last peg in the whole thing to get official, and now the rest of the schedule should be coming out. But I know there's been a lot of stuff that's been leaked. There's been a lot of tracks already just saying, "Hey, we're selling tickets.
Yeah, this is our day." Yeah,
and so people have pieced it together, but pretty cool. And man, I cannot wait to get back into the booth. It has been really, really difficult to not work this year. To be honest with you, I'm enjoying it. I'm having some free time and enjoying my trips and being with my family and spending time with Amy. But the when you sit there and watch those guys, especially the NBC booth, you damn sure miss it. All right, so we got race winner Harrison Burton on the Dale Jr. Download today. Harrison, thanks for coming and joining us. Where are you at?
I'm at the shop in Mooresville here, just hanging out in a small conference room tucked in the closet with my PR guy, Taylor, who is setting up the laptop because I'm not good at technology at all, so I need all the help I can get.
What has the last, 36 hours been like post-win?
Gosh, not a lot of sleep. It's been a lot of fun. After Saturday night, I got home at like 4 a.m. because tech took a while and my media took a while, so felt bad for everyone. We fly on the Team Penske plane, so all those guys are waiting for us, and had a pretty late night, but definitely was worth it. And then got home at 4. I opened the door, and Todd Gilliland and Sheldon Creed are just standing there in my hallway at 4 a.m, like ready to go. So we had a long, morning, and then took Sunday to kind of relax and chill out. And then last night did a dinner with a bunch of my friends that were not able to come at 4 a.m. on Saturday night. So it's been a lot of fun. Been really cool. Today was reality again. I was back in the sim at 7 a.m, so getting back to work.
Yeah, that's the one thing about racing and winning is you can win a Daytona 500 and it resets back to 0 when you go to the next race. You got to try. You got to try to win the next one. But we're not going to do that just yet. So, when you think back on the weekend, did you have did you have any inkling, leading up to the weekend that, man, I got an opportunity here? Had there been past performance at Daytona, Talladega, Atlanta, or anywhere, maybe even Michigan, where you felt like, I'm getting confidence in the car, I'm getting confidence in our abilities? I've watched y'all a little bit closely over the last probably 2 months, and I feel like that the 21 car is running better. I feel like just in the course of the race, you guys are a little bit more ahead of where you were probably in the first half of the year. Do you feel that same way? And again, like what was the emotion, leading into the race weekend?
Yeah, we had a fairly decent weekend in Michigan, so that's always good to kind of, we just kind of hit a base hit, right? Like where we, just got on base, had a solid kind of calm day. Tried a little strategy, led a couple laps because of that. So, just had a little bit of momentum. But then in the past, I feel like we've always been pretty solid at the drafting tracks between me and my spotter, Jason Jarrett. We have a pretty good relationship. We spend a lot of time watching the races, listening to his audio, letting him know what I need, what I don't need to hear. And as you know, it's such an important relationship for those races, is that spotter-driver relationship. So, for me, to have confidence for that race, I think was, kind of just based off the past performance. I've led laps at Daytona and Atlanta and Talladega. Just was never the right one. So I knew I could do it. It just had to work out. And, once the kind of wrecks happened and I was able to avoid them, and we were running up front for that last little bit there, and kind of knew I had a shot, and then to be able to have the opportunity and then take advantage of it is really fun. It's just, you sit in the car under the caution thinking about all the plans and everything that you want to do, and for it to work out the way that I kind of thought it did, or thought it was going to, and had a plan for everything. It was pretty surreal feeling.
Yeah. So what is the let's talk about, the elephant in the room. You win. I imagine that you know that you're not coming back to this team next year. I know you're a great kid and you've got a lot of character and you're going to do an amazing job for them and work hard. But what was it like, I guess, knowing that this was just announced weeks ago, to go out there and get a win and prove not only to yourself, I think, but outwardly that you belong in this series?
I mean, it was really, I don't know. I never really looked at it that way. I just, we really felt fortunate to be able to drive this car, to be able to work with the people I've worked with. The Wood brothers are amazing people. They've taken great care of me and my family. They've done everything the right way, as they have since 1950. My biggest regret was going to be leaving the Wood brothers without getting their 100th win. If you have 3 years to get one of the most historic wins in NASCAR and you don't do it, and then the next guy gets in, say Josh gets in and wins number 100, that would have stung. So for me, getting that win for those guys, getting that win for myself certainly meant a lot. But now I just feel like I have regrets about how things have gone that led up to this moment. I wish I could have done better. I wish I could have been better in multiple ways. I feel like it made it feel a lot better, and feel like I kind of have some closure with this whole opportunity, and obviously now we're in the playoffs. So man, how cool would it be to make some noise in the playoffs and have a little Cinderella run. So we have just such a great opportunity ahead of us that I haven't even really thought much about the end of it, right? Which is unfortunately coming pretty soon. So, it's been a lot of fun to work with these guys, and what's been really cool was just that we never quit on each other, even through all this, drama of me maybe coming back, maybe not, and then not coming back, them announcing Josh. It would have been really easy for all of my race team to quit and get ready to punt for next year. And so to win for those guys and get that genuine reaction of, we've worked through this together, we've been there, done that together, had the hardest days of probably my life together with these guys. And I think just all of our ability to put, accountability on our own selves has what's kind of kept us together, right? If Jeremy, my crew chief, makes a mistake, he'll tell me. He say, hey, that's on me. I did this. This is why. Or if I do the same thing, I'll tell him. And there's just not been any finger pointing, which is pretty rare and really special. So I think all those things together make it really bittersweet to win and know that it's coming to an end soon. But like I said, we've still got the playoffs coming, so we've got a lot to fight for yet.
I think a lot of people are excited or looking forward to what might be the next chapter for you. I know you haven't announced anything, but can you tell us that there is a plan in place, something you're excited about? Will there be an announcement down the road? Is there any information you can share?
Yeah, I think we're getting closer on that front. For me, I'm really, really lucky. My dad, as you know, went through all this stuff. My mom's been through this before. I've got a great management group around me that helps me through all this stuff. And I can kind of tell them what I want, what I'm looking for, and they've gone and tried to find the best fit, right? And it's been really fun kind of just trying to find out, where can I go that I'm wanted? Where can I go that I see a future? Where can I go that I can make an impact? And my goal is to win a cup championship one day. That's my goal. And so what is the best thing I can do to better myself as a driver so I can get to that level? So, it's been, believe it or not, it's actually been kind of a bit of a fun experience just going through that process. And I have, an opportunity I think is getting close that I'm pretty excited about. And I think it would be something good for my career to kind of get what we're working on done. We just obviously have to get it done, which is always something, right?
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to hearing what that is, and looking forward to seeing you make your run into the playoffs and through the playoffs and finish strong with the Wood Brothers. I know that that's important to you. You're a class act. Even at this young age, I've always been very impressed with your composure and your approachability, and you represent the sport very well. And now as a winner in NASCAR at the Cup level, you'll continue to do that, man. So thank you for giving us some time today. I know you're very busy. A lot of people pulling at you trying to get a comment here and there, and we just thank you for spending some time with us this morning.
Yeah, man. Thanks for all that. It means a lot, you saying that. I also have a lot of respect for you and what you've done for our sport. So my dad just logged in, so that's good timing right there. I'll pass you off to the old man.
So we just got done talking to Harrison about the weekend and what all that felt like. And I got to say, first off, and I've said this on the show about 3 or 4 times already, but his character, composure, his professionalism at such a young age, he's been challenged these last 3 years as a man, as a person. And I have just really been impressed with the job he's done to be a professional and keep it real in front of the media and so forth, and not an easy thing to do. I know Kim and you have to be very proud with not only him being able to kind of overcome and see this through and show that he belongs in this series, but how he's handled the challenge of racing in the Cup Series to begin with for the last several years.
Yeah, I mean, Junior, you and I have looked out of the window an awful lot of times, and he'll be having a decent day, and then we get, we leave the racetrack, we're like, where'd Harrison finish? Yeah, 32nd. You know what I mean? And so and then they've also had those days where they just have simply run bad. So it just kind of felt like for a long time, like they just never could catch a break, and they didn't have enough speed to overcome the bad breaks. And that wears on you, man. I mean, you and I both have had times in our careers where we were winning races, and then we got to the point where we couldn't sniff a win, couldn't even look at one. And at least we had the opportunity to go back and say, well, damn, I know I can do it because I was doing it. And he and many other drivers, when they're struggling and haven't done it, it really is hard, right? Because you start questioning yourself, your ability. The people around you are trying to help you, but at the same time, you feel like, man, like I'm just not good at what I'm doing. And it just, that doubt creeps in, and it's hard, super hard to overcome. And then what happens, a lot of times you start pulling back, right? You just start pulling back and you start doubting the people around you. And I'm proud of Harrison because he hasn't done that. Like, he doesn't come to me and say, man, my crew chief sucks. Pit crew's no good. Shot guy, engineer, he never does that. Like, never, ever does that. He just constantly talks about what he needs to do better. And if the team isn't doing as good of a job as he thinks they may, then he thinks it's because he's not communicating to them like he needs to. So I'm just proud of the ownership that he's taken. And at 23, he has shown a tremendous amount of maturity. And it's hard, man. You know how it is. We do this in front of people, which makes it awesome. But at the same time, they are more than willing to let you know when it's not going well. But I feel like he's done a nice job of handling it.
I want to know how you got down to his car to jump in his arms and give him a hug so quickly. What was the literal path you took to get to the infield from the booth?
So what happened was Clay Campbell, when Diffie dismissed me from the booth, I turned around and Clay Campbell was standing there. And he's like, come on, I'm going to get you down there. And he and Chip Wild had held an elevator for me, had created a gate, had opened a gate. And when I got to the front straightaway gate was open. And so we went down the elevator a couple levels, went through that concourse level where we parked the cars underneath the grandstands. Yep. And that took me to like maybe the 10th row or something in the grandstands. I walked down there and walked right onto the racetrack.
What is that comparable to when you get your feet onto the racetrack and you're walking toward your son? Compare that to something else you've experienced in your life.
I don't have it. I don't have it, Junior. I don't know that there is anything comparable. Because of everything you said before, when you're behind the door, you know what's going on, you know the pain, you know the all those things. And as I'm walking over there, I see the Woods, I see Harrison, I see Jeremy Bullins, I see Jenna, Harrison's fiance, I see Kim, clearly Harrison, and I'm like, and I don't know, I mean the damn crowd, man, it's vibrating. Like when I came down through there, Junior, there was no one leaving. Like everyone was still there celebrating, and there was this energy that was just wild that took me by surprise. Like it just surprised me at the energy. And then when we locked eyes, that was a very cool moment. And but I can't compare that to anything.
Were you in victory lane throughout the entire time he was there? And then when he goes to the media center, I imagine you went and sat and listened to all of that?
I experienced it all.
You experienced it all. Talk about maybe the reflecting that you did during that time, thinking about all of the late model races and all of the miles up and down the road trying to get him into these opportunities and what it took to get there. I imagine that must have been, when you finally are sitting there, allowed yourself to soak it in, I imagine that must have been pretty profound, the hour, the 2 hour, the 3 hour after the checkered.
I think the thing for me, Junior, was trying to figure out how to say this. I don't think people know Harrison. And I could sense that people were getting to know him. And the questions that people were asking him, the drivers that were coming in victory lane, the car owner, the people that were coming in victory lane to look him in the eye and shake his hand. Bubba and Ross came in there. I mean, these two guys' lives just changed because he won. They came in there. I thought that was cool. I thought this was Harrison's coming out party, so to speak, and that this was people now were starting to recognize who he is. And I'm not talking about as a race car driver. I'm talking about as a person. And I think that meant a lot to me because I think Harrison has been part of the reason people don't know him because, he hasn't done a lot of social. He hasn't really opened himself up to those type of things. And this one was right in everybody's face. And I just was, I don't know. I mean, I think he's my kid, so I got to be careful. I just think he's a very unique person. And until you get to know him, you don't really know that. And I just felt like people were getting to see who he was. And some people won't like that, and that's fine, like whatever. But I just think that it was, for me, it was more about that than it was reflecting on his racing and all those kind of things. And then also to see, I remember winning my first Xfinity race, and I was exhausted emotionally. I was beat. Like I was to the point of like, is it worth it? And I know what it feels like to get your ass kicked week in and week out, and to doubt yourself, and to see him celebrating his accomplishment as a parent. That meant a ton.
Well, we appreciate you giving us some time today, man. It's been awesome getting your perspective. You're a great friend, and I appreciate you. But I was so glad for the sport to see this happen, because I know how hard that he has worked for it, and I know how much it's meant to you. And you've done such a really, really good, difficult job of doing your job in the booth while also being a great dad and a supportive father to what he's trying to do out on the racetrack. That is a difficult, fine little line that you have to walk, and I think you've done it perfectly. And I believe everybody was so thrilled at all the visuals and the broadcast and the moments that we saw on our TVs after the race. So thanks for bringing such a great iconic moment to the sport, and that's one I think that we will remember out of all the things that might happen this year, is that night in Daytona. So appreciate you giving us a little time today. I know you're busy, and hope you have a great week and have some fun in Darlington.
Thank you, buddy. It's Darlington, man. It's our place. We're excited to go.
All right, man. We'll see you there, bud. Take it easy.
Buddy.
All right, so great conversation with Jeff. Gosh, could feel the emotion.
Yeah.
Talking about him, coming down to see his son on the front straightaway there, and Harrison. If everything goes well, Harrison wins many more Cup races in his career. There'll never be a first, and that will never happen again. And good that they got it all, got everything emotionally and that they could get out of it. And it's awesome that he was there throughout all of the victory lane and in the media center watching Harrison answer all the questions with the media and stuff. It's cool that he was able to see it and did that, put himself in that position. I want to thank Tire Pros for sponsoring the Dirty Air segment of today's show. Tire Pros is a great supporter of the Dale Jr. Download and Junior Motorsports, and they do a lot of great things in your community. If you got a Tire Pros nearby, it's owned by folks in your area, in your community. Go support them. They do more than tires. They'll do anything for you. Alignments, brakes, whatever it may be, they can get it fixed. So thank you, Tire Pros. All right, it's time for some Dirty Modo. All right, Alex Timms is at the table, and let's talk some of the best bets that you had over this past weekend at Daytona. Another wild race, another Cinderella victory. Did you capitalize on the uncertainty?
We did, yeah. There was actually some new bets that were on the sports books this week, some top 20 bets. So we took advantage of Cody Ware, who's always a guy who just hangs around in the back. Yeah. He had like the lowest odds to be a top 20, and it cashed for us. So
all right, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you had Cody Ware with a top 20 at minus 110. Christopher Bell as the top Toyota.
Yeah, we had a little strategy where we picked Bell, Gibbs, Eric Jones, and John Hunter, the last four Toyotas. They were all good odds, and one wins, you cover your money and then some. So Bell,
and then Michael McDowell on the over for 4.5 laps led.
Yeah, that was once he won the pole, that seemed like a lock, and I think he led like 20-something laps. So that was a really good bet for us.
Yeah, plus 30. Wow. I'm surprised at the odds on the Cody Ware top 20.
It's funny, but like at Daytona, I think they
tightened down
down a little bit. It'd be interesting to see if they have these odds next week or this week coming to Darlington.
Yeah, pretty cool. So going into Darlington, what are some of the drivers that you feel like you could count on?
With all these new winners we've had, I think it's going to go back to it's a JGR HMS type of race. I think they're going to gear up for the playoffs. It's kind of going to bring some stuff and get those final playoff points for the playoffs. So
no Eric Jones surprise win.
I don't see it with that team the way they've been running. I don't see it.
Okay, golly, who is the underdog? Who is the one driver that's outside the top 16 in the playoffs that you feel like has a shot?
Well, I mean, I think Chris Buescher, he's 16th, but yep. I think he is the guy. I think if you're going to bet somebody outside that, he's the guy.
All right, but his odds will probably not be worth betting.
I'd say around 2,000 plus 2,000.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Still good. I'd take it.
I would too. All right. So thank you, Alex. And Dirty Modo comes out every Thursday on our Dirty Mo Media platforms. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, if you want to hear how they handicap the field, some of the best bets to make, it's a great show. So tune in every Thursday. It's time for the White Flag, dropping Saturday after the race. The Teardown with Jeff Gluck and Jordan Bianchi is a great listen every single week. And Sunday, Action's Detrimental with Denny Hamlin a day early. Good job, Denny. And then Monday, the guys with Door Bumper Clear got in there and got the job done. And Ryan Truex joined the team at Door Bumper Clear to talk about his Xfinity win this past weekend in Daytona. We didn't even mention that throughout our show. Congratulations to Ryan Truex. Good dude. Dropping tomorrow, Speed Street with Connor Daly and Chase Holden. Will Power will be joining the show. I guess there's been some Will Power drama in the series the last, I don't know, can you go back a month or two? He's kind of been in the news.
He loves
doing some things.
Yeah.
All right,
fingers.
so yeah. And then we have Buddy Parrott, longtime crew chief, father of a couple successful boys that have been involved in the sport, and Brad Parrott and Todd Parrott. So Buddy's going to come in and tell us all about his history, and he has a ton. I can't wait to talk to him. And that's going to drop tomorrow. Thursday, DJD Reloaded, and then Dirty Modo as well, dropping Thursday. All the best bets going into this weekend's race at Darlington. And then also It's that time of year again for Win Dale Jr.'s Ride. There's still time to purchase your raffle tickets. It's the 14th year of the program, and this year we're raffling off a brand new 2024 Corvette Stingray. The Dale Jr. Foundation will cover all of the taxes on the car. The raffle tickets are $25 a piece, and the program runs until September 30th or until tickets are sold out. So we got to thank Chevrolet for donating this nice Corvette. Me and Amy have been driving the car around, enjoying it, but we're not putting too many miles on it.
Can't get too attached.
Yeah, Dalton, you've got a weekly social media standout.
I do. This one actually comes from someone who sent it to my social media.
Nice.
And with school coming back up, high school seniors do this thing where they'll get like a parking spot and they can decorate it. And this young man, Graham, if I can get it up on the screen, did this up on the TV and painted it after the good old Intimidator.
That's cool.
The curb.
The curb, yes, the parking
That's
curb.
badass.
So he was like, I really want Dale to see it. And I said, all right.
All right, Graham. Thank you, man. I really love that. That's really cool. And I hope that, more people will paint curbs with Dale Earnhardt on them.
Yeah, maybe like a mic curb would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Curb on a curb.
A curb on a curb. There
we
you go. All right. A little nod to Mike Curb.
There you go.
One of Dad's sponsors in his 1980 Cup season. Mike could be coming in this room at some point.
Ooh.
We'll just leave it there.
All right.
Alex Bowman has the question of the week.
So my backup question for Dale, in case my first one was inappropriate, is what is it going to take for Dale to go to bat for all of us to have painted or wrapped rocker boxes on our cars at every race, because they look badass?
I agree, Alex. So NASCAR, when the next gen came out, they would not allow the teams to wrap or paint the rocker boxes, which makes them look stupid. And I don't like to use that word stupid, but a car that doesn't have painted rocker boxes or wrapped rocker boxes really looks dumb. And so even though they are dumb looking and stupid looking, they still trot them out there every single week. And but yeah, I would love to, if I could influence anything in the sport, that would be one of the things. I'd love to do that for you, Alex. And I'm fighting that fight every day. I want you to know, Alex.
Thank you.
I love hearing from, I like hearing that from the drivers. That matters to them. It matters to me. A lot of people think it's a silly thing to argue about, silly hill to die on, but that's where my heart is. What was this first question?
I was going to ask that.
Inappropriate.
I just remember, you got to ask a different one. That was. Yeah.
We'll talk about it offline.
We'll talk about it. Hey, even his PR rep was like, "Yeah, we should probably have a backup."
People are
going to
want to know.
Open can
All
of
right,
worms.
we'll never know. Tomorrow, Buddy Parrott
I'll
on the
know.
Dale Jr. Download. We'll see you then. Thank you.